The pilum was the most famous throwing weapon of the Roman legions. But, of course, as everything evolved and among other things, this new weapon appeared. The Plumbata. The Plumbata, what a strange weapon, isn't it? Does it look like a crossbow bolt or one of those darts you throw in the bar against a target? In the end, it had the same utility as the pilum, and the javelin being thrown en masse against the enemy to wear down the charge and take down as many as possible. I'll show you up close so you can see this very strange weapon and you can appreciate it better. Let's see if the camera can focus well on me. Let's see like this. Let's see if it can do it. Okay, do you see it? We'll discuss it briefly. The origin is actually not in Rome. There are examples of other types of plumbata, but let's say its predecessors from the time of ancient Greece. Although it is true that those who really popularized this weapon were the troops of late Rome. What does plumbata mean? Well, etymologically it has the root of plumum, which means lead, and the translation would be something like lead darts. The lead is this little ball that you see here. We will discuss its function later in the video. But we can also find that they are called marchiobarbuli. What does it mean? Something like the spikes of Mars or the little spikes of Mars. Think that Mars was the god of war, so wait. There could have been longer or smaller plumbatas, but we could say that the weight ranged between 150 and 350 grams. This weapon could kill, of course, but it was not so much designed to kill, but rather to cause serious injuries and disrupt the enemy's defense. One of the advantages of the fact that the plumbata is so small is that the legionaries, unlike the pila that could carry about 2, in terms of plumbatas, could carry up to 5. Of course, this meant that by carrying 5 plumbatas, each legionary could launch a rain of projectiles on the enemy army. And even though they didn't have the penetration capacity that javelins or pila had, they could do a lot of damage. Because of their design, when you threw them, they would stay and fall. Not vertically, but they would fall almost vertically, attacking the enemy from above. Not like the javelins that attack more or less horizontally. And in that way, they could reach undefended points of the enemy warriors. Therefore, they were very useful for attacking enemy cavalry units with the aim of injuring their mount or light infantry units, because they had a range of up to 80 meters, which is no small feat. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, more plumbatas could be carried than pila, more than double, and on the other hand, they were much cheaper to manufacture than the pila. And perhaps most importantly, they required less skill to be thrown. That is, a recruit would take less time to learn to throw a plumbata than to learn to throw or do something like a javelin or pila. But what if something happens to me? And instead of so much theory, why don't we go to practice? Why don't we go outside to practice and get some fresh air? Well, we are now on a terrace. It's the second time I'm filming outdoors, although this time it's going to be much more intensive than the other. In the end, with the Norman shield, I filmed for about 1.5 minutes. By the way, that link is up here. Therefore, I ask you to be merciful and, above all, to point out the mistakes to me so that I can keep improving. And my outdoor videos are getting better and better. But let's get down to business. I mentioned that one of the advantages was that it was easier to launch. Okay. I've literally thrown this plumbata 4 times, so we're going to be able to study how someone performs who we could say has practically never thrown it before. The plumbata could be thrown from below like this or from above like so. We're going to analyze which one is better, not which one is better, but what advantages one form had over the other, and of course, what disadvantages. We're going to shoot, if you see over here, we're going to shoot at that white tube. It's not going to be that much. A launch to see if I hit the tube, as to see how much it goes sideways and along. My throw, why? Because while I throw it, I want to ask you a question. Does it really matter if I hit exactly the tube or the warrior? If it were the battle, you see that I'm not very far, right? I mentioned the throw was 80 meters, but keep in mind I'm doing it as a novice recruit, which I am. So we're going to go up little by little. We're going to throw from below. Let's see what happens. Okay. If you've noticed the movement of the Plumbata, at first it spins a lot, but gradually, thanks to the fins at the back and the lead we mentioned earlier, in the Plumbata, it straightens up and let's say it's gaining the inertia to fall vertically to the ground. In this case, you can see that the launch has been disastrous. Here is the tube and here is the Plumbata. Then, my first launch has been terrible. I could excuse myself that it's windy, but let's try it again. Second launch. Okay, it fell flat there. But well, in terms of horizontality, the aim was good. Since I'm experimenting in the end, I consider that maybe I didn't give it enough distance to straighten up, and that's why it made so many turns. So I've positioned myself further from the target to see if that gives the Plumbata time to straighten up. Third attempt, third time's the charm, let's go. Let's see if it lands near the tube and sticks into the ground. Very good. Have you noticed this one? That it fell super vertically? It stuck into the ground, we'll see it now. And also in terms of horizontality, it turned out quite well, okay? As you can see, I'm not lying to you, it fell horizontally, it fell quite accurately, and it fell point first, which is what matters. In the end, does it really matter that I fell short? That's the question I asked you earlier. Imagine there's a crowd here, and whether I go to the right or to the left or fall short or go too far, it's not critical as long as it's approximately correct. Okay, well, another attempt in this area. The distance is about the same as before, perhaps slightly more, allowing more time to straighten up. And let's see now how it sticks, he threw. Okay, let's do another throw the same way. I've increased the distance a bit so it has more time to straighten out in the air and fall vertically. Okay, the distance is the same. I'm going to throw. It's stuck, isn't it? If you know, it's already stuck. This time it gave me a bit of distance from the pipe, but well, at least it's straight now. Well, as you can see, I've missed quite a few. It's not as easy as I had read. We're going to try the overhead throw now, to see if anything changes, if it's easier or if it's the same. I was also planning to record myself throwing the Plumbata today, with some military equipment, mainly the shield. But I think I'm going to have to practice more. And in another video I will show you the Plumbata throw with the military equipment. We are going to try the overhead throw now. You will see that the distance is more or less the same. This way we can compare the underhand and overhand types. I won't cut it, so the result will be what it is. This way we can compare intensely. Whether I give it or not. Or at least if it sticks, let's see. Okay, it didn't stick this time. But we can see that, at least in terms of horizontal accuracy, it has done quite well. It is created right in front of the tube. It is true that in terms of longitudinal accuracy, that is, if I have gone long or short, in this case I have fallen short. Well, the throw I just made was disastrous in that it would have hit someone, but it would not have caused any injury. So let's throw over the top again and see what comes out. It seems that now I've got it right horizontally and longitudinally as it looks so good, because it's, I think, right behind the tube. Now it hasn't nailed it either, so Yes, I got it right as far as do you see from here? I got it right as to the place I have to hit, but it really wouldn't have been low. The good thing is, at least, even if I haven't hurt anyone, I'm forcing, on the contrary, to have to protect themselves, in case my throw had been good, okay? We're going to repeat these throws several times to be able to compare with the shot or the underhand throw, okay? I'm going to throw overhand now, again, and let's see if I'm lucky. Okay, the overhead throws have been terrible. I've thought that maybe if I throw it like this, it might have a better result. I'm speaking low because maybe I'm overthinking it by throwing it like this, but when I threw it like that, I didn't overthink it as much. Let's try. The distance is going to be the same, and let's see. Let's see what comes out. Well, now it has fallen vertically, right? I nailed it, but the precision was more or less similar. And even though not I nailed it, I could have hurt someone. Okay? I'm going to cut the throws for now because I'm not getting it right. It seems like I need more practice than I had read on the internet. The videos where people claim to throw it for the first time did not seem genuine. These are a first. Have you seen the disastrous results? So, I would like to comment from the perspective of a recruit what I could appreciate about the Plumbata. We move away from the idea of walking in a tame manner. That is, I've seen the throwing techniques, but I haven't had an instructor as a recruit. Someone would advise me, hey, you need to grab it like this, throw it with more or less force. So for the next video, because I'm going to make another one, for sure showing you the evolution and how to shoot with the, let's say, with the military gear. I'm going to prepare myself and see exactly how it should be thrown, and what is the best technique. Anyway, as it's the first time I've picked up the Plumbata, I want to give my point of view, not on how I've seen it. The weight is fine. It's quite manageable, as I mentioned before, 150, 350 grams. I don't know exactly what it will weigh. Is it? Is the underhand throw intuitive? It's not intuitive at all, that is. This throw is not intuitive at all. Because in the end, when you're a kid, you play throwing stones or whatever, you throw everything overhand, underhand, it's not intuitive. When you think about attacking someone, you don't always try to throw it overhand, but of course I've had better results throwing it underhand than overhand. Therefore, the soldier's intuition may not apply. But I repeat, no. I haven't had an instructor and have to prepare myself. Despite this, I want to give my opinion, the point of view of someone who has never used it, which I think is the purest point of view, let's say, of someone who picks it up for the first time. In terms of accuracy, the truth is that it is quite accurate. I haven't thrown it very far either, from about 15-20 meters perhaps, and speaking horizontally. I haven't missed that much, and I've had many throws where it has landed quite close. From the tube longitudinally, I have missed more. But I repeat, precision is not that important. In the end, I'm throwing at a mass of soldiers, however. Even though precision is not that important. And what is indeed important is that it falls vertically. And that's what I have to prepare for, see how I do it. That I can't always guarantee 100%, but it almost always falls vertically. And now, having seen the Plumbata, do you think the Roman legions did well to replace the Pila with the Plumbatas? I want, as always, for you to leave your opinion in the comments. I think it's not better or worse, it's another way if they can carry more, but they also have less penetration capacity in the end. It's a sample of the profound changes that the legions experienced, from the mythical legions of Caesar who conquered Gaul, to the legions of the late Roman Empire. We may like them more or less. I, for example, prefer the legions of Mario, Caesar, Octavian, Titus, Vespasian, but not because they are better than those of the late Empire, but because, from my point of view, Caesar's legions have the essence of Rome, which they shared with the manipular legions of the time of African Cyprian. of the time of great victories. So I will keep you updated for when I feel comfortable throwing the Plumbata, and see that my precision is quite good. And I will notify you so that you do not miss that video, so for now that's all. Remember, as always, subscribe, become members of the channel, check out the Patreon, and above all, the store. And that's it. Greetings and strength and honor.